I also agree with Mitchell Cohen that the board members should try to find ways to help with doing that, and there are some ways, making phone calls and stuff like that. I believe everybody should be treated fairly and equally, both at the station and here on the LSB and in these meetings. I think that we should try to talk to one another and deal with our differences. I've seen a lot of stuff happen over the past almost 7 years on this LSB. I don't know that we're all going to love each other, but we don't have to. We just have to concentrate on the fact that we need to save WBAI, because if we don't, it's going to go. And I think we need to look into several things like staff training and stuff like that, and thank you.
Thank you. Next is Teresa Palmer.
Good evening. Good evening and welcome everyone. Can you hear me? My name is Teresa Palmer. I'm new to the station board. I'm not new to WBAI. I do a lot of volunteering at WBAI, and my wish is that on the board that we could all work together, because I think we have one thing in common, and that's that we all love and have a passion for WBAI, and I think that's what kind of brings everybody together. What I would like to see with WBAI is I would like to see its involvement in the community. I think that being located in New York City, that it has a very good opportunity to host a lot of community events, to reach out to the community and to serve the community. And I look forward to working with everyone. I'm also a good listener, so if people have ideas or if they have something they'd like to say, I'm willing to work with everybody to serve WBAI. And it is in financial trouble. We really need to help it out. It is an important part, I think, of all our lives. Thank you.
Sean Rhodes.
Good evening. I am Sean Rhodes. I am a staff delegate. Like a few others here, I've been on the board 6 years, had a year off, now I'm back for more. One of the things I was interested when I first ran was strengthening the ties between staff and listeners. There is a symbiotic relationship there, and I'd like to maintain that this year, and also to ensure BAI's fiscal solvency this year. So there you are, short and sweet.
Thank you, Sean. James Ross.
Hi. Yeah, I'm James Ross, or Jamie Ross, which is what I go by most of the time. Let's see. For the upcoming year, I would like to see us work together as best as we can. I believe that the factionalism around the station has been very destructive and unproductive. I hope we can get beyond that. We do, as several people have pointed out, we need to focus on the fact that the station is not self-sustaining at this point in time, and if we continue down this path, someday probably not too long, there will be no more station. I believe one of the things we need to do as a board is continue to impress on management that the non-self-sustaining nature of WBAI needs to change. One way, it seems to make sense to me, since BAI is a radio station, is programming has to be put on the air that appeals to enough people that will support the station. I think that's, we have to bring that to management's attention. We're not in a situation where we can sit back and let things cruise. That's not what we're here for at this point in time. Changes have to keep happening. And if they're not well done, then they have to be redone. But the status quo is not a place we can stay. One other thing I'd like to point out, I'd like to work on this year that this board has been very weak on, is fundraising. Several people have pointed out that board members can help make phone calls to delinquent pledgers.
That's time is up.
Okay, that's one thing we could do in other fundraising aspects as well. Hopefully we'll get a committee for that purpose this year. Thanks.
Manager Saba.
Hi again. My name is Manager Saba. This is my second year as a board member. I have been member and listener of BAI since 78, 79, and I came on board having experienced the 2000 coup and participating in getting the station back, but came back realizing that there was so much dysfunction is going on and the station is in danger. I think the mission of the station and the existence of BAI for me is crucial for political survivability of the United States as a whole. BAI and Pacifica has a special role to push the movement and energize the movement and connect people together. We have not been doing that. Lots of, to me, petty fighting and selfishness on part of many people whose only thing in their lives is BAI. They have nothing else to go to. Is bringing the station down. When we have to fight during the 2000 and on the past 10 years, when we had to fight the reactionary regime that has been growing in this country, people have been fighting among each other and bringing the station down. We always have to, we don't need to do it to ourselves. I'm sure there are other people implanted among us to create dissension. We need to stop that, and one of the reasons that I came is because of that. The thing that I would focus on, particularly moving the station, doing some more volunteer work, and bringing people together to work together for the good of the station. Thank you, sorry.
Thank you. Next is Alex Steinberg.
I'm Alex Steinberg. I serve on the programming committee of this station, which I chair. I'm also on the Pacifica National Board, where yes, can you hear me?
Make it louder.
I also serve on the Pacifica National Board, where I am on the Elections Committee and the National Finance Committee. Could you please get that flash out of my eye, Mr. Riley?
Yeah, John, you can take pictures, but no, without the flash is fine. The flash is...
It's hurting my eyes, too.
Go ahead. No, it just went off. Go ahead, Alex.
Don't do it again.
What is it, John Palladino? Paul Palladino's in the house,
what you've just seen is some of the disruptive tactics that have been weakening this board and making it very difficult for WBAI to turn around and to become self-sustaining. I'm glad to hear that many people on the board here, especially the new people, want to work together. I want to work together with everyone who is sincere in that approach. And, but I have no patience for demagogues or grandstanding, so if you're going to do that, don't waste my time. I know that many producers here are angry about the programming changes. I think we need the programming changes. I don't think that means we needed every single one of them in the way it happened. But we do have a fact that cannot be denied. We've been not self-sustaining for the last 7 years. The Pacifica Foundation as a whole is not self-sustaining. If this is not turned around, there will not be a station left. So we have to learn to work together. And I think it's important that listener members of this board work closely with the staff members and with producers at the station. We really have to find a way in which decisions that affect programming, for instance, that affect all of us, that we have some kind of due process in place for that, some kind of review process.
That's
something
time,
I've been
Alex.
trying to implement since I've been on this board. And I urge
Thanks, Alex,
everyone
first time.
who has a stake in that to work in that.
Alex, come on. Time's up. Danielle Vila.
My name is Daniel Vila. I'm one of the hosts of La Voz Latina. And I think I've been on the board 50 years, right? 50 years? No, feels like 50 years. One year, and WBAI is a pro-working class, anti-war, anti-imperialist, pro-immigrant rights program. And unfortunately, most of you here have not been able to listen to the program because it is in Spanish. But in any case, my fantasy for the coming year, and hopefully of many of us, is that we'll be able to take a lesson from what's going on around the world as we look around Afghanistan, Iraq, Lebanon, and so on. Working people, Arabs, people all over the world have been uniting against U.S. imperialism and kicking butt over there, and also the working class of Italy, Ireland, South Africa, Latin America, and so on have also been uniting, and hopefully we on this board will work around the differences that we have and be able to unite in the better interests of working people. Finally, in terms of what we want, I think that the problem has not been financial over the last years on this station, but it has been, as Bob mentioned, the fact that we're on Wall Street. We're giving our money to the filthy rich. And so I hope that we can put the station back on track in defending the interests of working people and get the filthy rich out of the station and out of our lives. Thank you.
The next speaker is Bernard White.
First of all, I want to thank all of you who voted and came out in this last election and made it possible for me to be here and my colleagues. I want to thank all of you who came out and voted in this last election and made it possible for me and my colleagues to be here. One of the things that I'd like to see happen in this upcoming term is that we try something new at WBAI, something that died about several months ago, and that is some truth. Yes. We haven't had much truth in the last couple of months. A lot of lies have been told to you. We had one exposed right here this evening about people telling you that staff is upset, low morale. A couple of months ago, we were told that everything was wonderful. The station is in serious, serious trouble. It has moved to the point where there's an inordinate influence of money at the station. Folks with large pockets have been able to manipulate their way into the decision-making apparatus.
Call it like it is, Steve Brown.
It's out of order, and it's also wrong.
Right. So I'm hoping that one of the missing ingredients is you, the community. Yes. My role here, as I see it, is to try and get you to begin to come to some of these meetings. A lot of what's done here is done in secret because you're not here.
Yes.
So
we have been here.
He's been here.
Yes, I've been here so much. Don't make these generalizations. Look, truth is truth.
Shut up, Monroe.
Truth is what Monroe says.
If we can get you to come to these meetings and make the demands, the proper demands on this board, I'm sure that the right thing will happen. So once again, thank you very much.
I agree with you, the sentiment in this room, and I support everything Bernard White has just said. I am new on the board, Justice and Unity, but I've been a listener to WBAI since you were in the church. Way way back in those church days. And I remember how inspired I was and the city was when we listened to WBAI. The variety of programming, the sincerity there, the input, not the input, but the content of the material and the relationship to the community. It was all so bonding. And this is justice and unity, and I'm saying that unless you have justice here, truth goes along with justice. You're not going to have unity, and we need unity. So people, please let us each get past our own little quirks, our own little needs, and look higher. I'd hate to see this disappear. So much else has disappeared in our community. We cannot let that happen. Institutions are failing and going because they're being undermined by selfishness. And we cannot have that anymore. The country is falling down in so many ways. Let us push, let us raise WBAI. Let us stop looking at each other as just enemies, because it doesn't work. And we all suffer because of that. So please, I know some of you have been here for years and grown old here and done a lot of work here.
Time is up.
Understand, if you're going to have unity, if you're going to be successful, you must have justice and you must have truth. So please, find that in our hearts, your heart, and let's do that.
Well, that's the board as it exists for the next year. And I believe that Jamie will record the suggestions that have been made, and we'll put that back out there and send it around and see how we could implement some of those. Are there any excused absences?
Ray LaForest.
Okay, Ray LaForest.
Elizabeth Brown.
Elizabeth Brown. Is any discussion, any objections to excusing these two people? Seeing none, okay, so they get excused absences. Now we have the minutes of the last meeting, but I would like the consent of the board to skip that because the print was even worse on that than it is on the agendas. So is there any objection to skipping the minutes for this time, and we'll do it next time?
What is the importance of
Seeing none. The next is the treasurer's report. So our Paul.
Oh, good evening. My name is R. Paul Martin. I'm the treasurer. Basically, we're going to talk about both WBAI and Pacifica. For those who don't know, Pacifica owns 5 radio stations. WBAI is one of them. And Pacifica is currently way behind on some bills. WBAI has gotten a warning letter from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which gives us some of our funding. We have to either raise our average quarter hour, the number of people listening on average per quarter hour, or our listener support income. I've done some calculations, and knocked my chair over. I've done some calculations based on what the CPB puts out on the web and what they say in their warning letter, and it looks like we're going to need to raise another $950,000 on top of what we were planning to in FY11 to avoid problems for FY12, or else we're going to have to really raise the average quarter hour. I won't go into the exact numbers because everybody will be bored. The National Finance Committee, called the NFC, is the Pacifica National Board's finance committee, and it goes over the finances of all of Pacifica and specifically the stations. And it's met on November 16th, 30th, and December 7th. And we've mostly been concentrating on the various station budgets. The NFC has been considering the WBAI FY11 budget for the past 3 meetings. There is resistance to our only paying 5% in central services. Generally, we're supposed to pay a total of 19.5%. BAI has not been paying central services fees properly since April of 2007. There have been some fees paid in there, but in an emergency only and not much. So at the last meeting, the LSB voted on a budget where we're going to try and pay 5% in central services. There's also resistance to a budget that doesn't break even or have a surplus. And we've been pushing that we have to be realistic about this. I've pushed that here to the LSB, and we've pushed it also to the PNB and the NFC, saying we have to be realistic. BAI has not had a surplus for a very long time. And we need to understand that it's not going to have a surplus this year, and we shouldn't put one in the budget if we're not going to do it, because it will cause problems down the road. It's quite a hard sell because there are people who don't like this. A motion last night to have the WBAI budget passed by the NFC got postponed. The budget having passed the LSB has to now pass the NFC and then go to the PNB for approval. We're going to have another meeting, and we're going to bring up the BAI budget again and see how that works out. All right, we also now have the added complication of new people coming into the National Finance Committee, and we have to explain everything to a whole bunch of them. The next meeting of the NFC is going to be on Thursday, December 16th. There's another meeting date available for December 21st as well if we have to have it. I'll be calling a meeting soon of the LSB's Finance Committee for us to start going over the third and fourth quarter actuals and to prepare a report for the LSB, which is one of the things the LSB is supposed to do. We're also going to be talking about the CPB situation. And one of the things I think we need to really seriously look at is find out exactly when the Arbitron ratings are getting done. Because from looking at things, I'm wondering, we need to make sure that the Arbitrons are not rating us while we're pitching. Because we know for, since the 70s we've known that during the Thons when we're pitching, the listenership goes down. If we happen to be pitching while they're rating us, we're shooting ourselves in the foot. So we need to find out when this is and not pitch at that time. And that's my report for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for R. Paul, or shall we move on?
Yes.
Yes, Janet.
Yeah, my question is the Arbitron the measurement that is used by the CPB? Is that is why we're concerned with whether or not our ratings are...
Exactly.
Okay.
They have a listener support index and a financial support index.
Okay, thanks.
And how much money do we get from the CPB?
Oh, I have to look. It's around 12-ish. Well, it's around 12-ish% of our budget. It may be going down. It went down last year. It may be going down this year. We've got to see.
So it's about 400,000. It sounds like. Bob.
Plus something else. Plus the
sorry.
right to broadcast music. That's copyrighted music.
Okay. Nia, and this will be the last comment to this.
I'd like to know how is the station current with the premises rent and the antenna rent?
At this point, I'm not sure. We had not been. We had been. Oh wait, let's see. We are behind. Okay, well, we are behind for the tower. We are behind for the tower, and we are either caught up or about to catch up for the offices.
What happens if we don't pay?
Paul, isn't it true that we're also about $250,000 behind Free Speech Radio News payment, and in Democracy Now! Payment another $300,000 or $400,000?
FSRN is, I'm seeing the figure, 160 grand. For Democracy Now! We're 400.
What's the figure for the rent and the antenna?
1 month. But we are told Pacifica National is going to catch us up. I hope they are. But they're saying they're hoping that we'll be catching up for March.
March?
Well, I think they figure we're going to be a little behind until we catch up, and that's what they said on the call last night.
Okay, I recommend that folks who are interested come to the Finance Committee meetings where we go over these in depth, and then the Finance Committee gives reports, and it's usually unanimous, not always, but usually unanimous, and gives reports and questions to the LSB. The next item is the election of the officers for the coming year. So,
this says Chair Pro Tem.
That's right. So are there nominations for a Chair Pro Tem, which could be me, but it could be changed also. Yes, Nia.
I would like to nominate John Brinkley from New Jersey.
And are there other nominations for Chair Pro Tem? Yes, Carolyn.
Yeah, I'd like to nominate yourself since you've been doing it.
Okay.
Mike.
Thank you. So.
Is there any objection?
Well, we have two people.
Well, there are two people to be Chair Pro Tem for this period of time, for the conducting the elections, and then once we choose the next chair, then it goes back to the person. Actually, all right. I guess we'll vote on this.
You already picked.
Yeah, we have to do it now. You can't do hand votes. Nothing is hand votes here for some reason.
So, happen to have ballots, meaning cut pieces of paper.
While you're doing that, Mitch, may I say something?
No, I'm ready to pass it out. So, if somebody would help take one piece of paper and just vote. The two choices
are John Brinkley and myself to conduct during the election.
Mitch, I want to suggest that we use the time now while all of these votes are being counted to have public comment.
Well, we might do that after we get through the first one, but we also want to have the people who are nominated be able to talk as well. So right now we're voting on either John Brinkley or Mitchell Cohen for the Chair Pro Tem, and then we will move on to that.
Mitchell, I need two more.
It's a done deal. Well, they know the result, right?
So why do you have the vote? Thank you.
No, we're just voting now. If somebody could collect these ballots.
Mitch?
What? You have a point or something? No, Nia wanted to speak also. No, you're not allowed to speak at this point. You just vote.
I'm not really sure if I just like to say while Jamie is collecting the votes, a lot of people I know, I was the first one who talked about fairness and willing to work. I've said this before, and I'm appealing to the LSB members in the majority, if during the permanent election of the chair, vice chair, and secretary, if people could really show goodwill and would be willing to share those positions with the majority. Okay, and I heard from the very cooperative, the very person who said about working together, to at least share that position. If I mean, you guys have the majority. If you take the chair, obviously, I'm sure you're not going to want to give that up. But if you could allow minority representation by allowing the minority member to have the vice chair, I think that would be a good start.
Yes, I know, it's out of order. It's out of order, but let me balance out with Andrea.
I am grown and free and I have the floor, and I said I'd like to say something.
No, it's out of order.
I would like to say something too.
Yeah, everybody wants to say something.
Come on.
But that was a good move. Yeah, Andrea, I'll let.
You're out of order.
Mitchell, I was going to suggest that we do use the public comment during the election.
We're going to.
I know you said you wanted us to, who were running for office, to speak then, but we've already spoken. I think we should just use the time for public comment.
I agree. Okay, the pro tem chair is 11 to 11.
Great. It's 11 to 11.
How can it be 11 to 11?
So good. No, we'll do it together. You want to do it together? Using Nia's.
You have to get through this.
We've got to do it.
You want me to flip a coin?
Do you want to flip a coin?
Isn't that what it says? Fine by me either way.
Yeah, flip a coin.
Let's do it together. Okay, do the spirit of cooperation.
Yes, right, the spirit of cooperation. Yes.
So, we're doing the chair first.
Would like to open the nominations for chair, permanent chair.
Over here, sir.
Nia?
Mr. Chair Pro Tem, I gladly nominate John Brinkley from New Jersey.
I second. Second by Russell. Any other nominations? Nominations are closed.
That's sarcasm.
Yes, I nominate Mitchell Cohen of Brooklyn.
The gentleman is waiting.
I just said I nominate Mitchell Cohen of Brooklyn.
Mitchell Cohen has been nominated. Any second?
Don't need a second on nominations.
Yes, you do.
No,
you don't. Second.
Okay. Any other nominations?
Come on, let's go.
All right.
Bet you don't have any people on your side?
Any other nominations? Nominations for chair are closed.
Yeah. Yeah, take some more days. You have to be. Okay.
Would you like to talk? To say why you, I don't know if it matters, but we could each talk for a minute. I'm passing.
You don't want to talk?
I spoke before.
Both of you did.
Okay. The reason I accepted this nomination is because there's been a lot of talk about working together, and I know the board has a history. I like to start a new future, and I feel I can be fair. I think I can be fair to everyone here on the board, and so that's why I decided to accept the nomination.
Very good.
Hey!
Maybe I'm naive, but is there a reason that both of you couldn't do chairs? I'm kind of a step towards uniting both of the groups.
It's not, it's against the bylaws.
Oh, okay. Just a vote.
Could we share?
While they're counting the ballots, why don't we go to the first person from public comment, then we'll go to the next. M. Saida.
Is there a list? I'm lined out.
People just line up.
You lined up?
Where's the line? I don't know where the lines start.
Behind me, guys. Why don't you? No, we made the line.
Don't know, I've been at the station for 30 years. I'm currently doing a show that was changed against the process
I
on
was
Sunday.
standing over there. What do you want me to do? Go all the way to the end of the line?
Yes, that's what the line.
That's not what I'm doing.
I wasn't.
Don't insist.
I wasn't, because I'm going home.
Once you decide. Yeah, I'm a 50-year member. I'm almost 80 years old. Yeah, what do you do?
Come on. Yo, Monroe, let's let people talk.
My name is M. Saidia McLaughlin, and I've been at the station for 30 years in many capacities, and I've seen a lot of things that have gone outside. It is.
Just hold it to your mouth.
Okay.
Close.
Right to your mouth.
Anyway, and I've been at the station, as I said, for over 30 years. I'm currently doing a spot that was changed out of some strange process to Sundays at 11 p.m. for sports qualified. And I just bring that up because over the years there have been questions of process. And I know that everybody else is going to talk about the recent things, so I'm going to bring up something that occurred at the beginning of this meeting. When they talked about the management search committee, I was a member of that management search committee. And I wanted to tell you that because at the time, 2 people on that management search committee for the program director had at their disposal the evaluations of the current program director without any redaction, and that was you, Steve, and also Val. And so what I said at that time was, how dare you have those pieces of information? How did you get it? It seemed to be a violation of confidentiality and out of process. As a result, I was left out of any further communication and participation in that committee.
That would be Carol.
So, that's all I want to say for now, because I only have, a few minutes, and everybody here is going to talk about all the other things that I have concern with. But I must say, I welcome everybody on this particular board. Hopefully, we'll get past some of the stuff, and hopefully we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We know the things that have worked at BAI, and some people have been very, very responsible for its success. Whether or not you like them is another story. But we have to get back to the business of the Pacifica mission. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello. Okay, I'll make it short and sweet. I came out tonight. I've traveled a long way to get home. I think this was horrible. I think the station's programming is the worst I've ever heard. You got music to the up the kazoo all day, in between everything. When 99% of the stations on the air are music, why do we want to hear music? I think it's horrible. I think that the listeners were not considered at all. I don't know what's wrong. I'm in no one's fraction, and I'm not trying to be. I just wanted to listen and learn, and I'm not learning anything. The hosts that are left are biased. Only the guests come on there and rock it. But the host asks, really, when you have guests that come from the Council for Foreign Relations on BAI, we're in trouble. Okay? So all I'm saying is, I have sponsored, I've worked there, I've done the phone, but I think it's slated to be killed. You can kiss it goodbye, because, and then I come to this meeting and it's all this infighting. It's horrible. I'm going home, and whatever happens, happens. But I can tell you, you can see there's a change, and it's just like the Village Voice. They homogenized it, they pasteurized it, and then they killed it. And that's BAI. It's over.
My elder Nana Camille, permission to speak?
Yes.
Thank you. My name is T. Rasul Murray. I'm a listener since back at 7th Avenue. I've been asked by some of my fellow listeners to introduce 9 demands that are being made by listeners. WBAI's interim management and local station board majority are completely out of control. Since they took power in May of 2009, WBAI has experienced a series of unprecedented human, financial, and programmatic failures. Decisions have been made without respect for listeners, producers, or established protocols and processes. Up to this point, most of the producers have sat quietly by while WBAI has been systematically decimated to eliminate its focus on community issues and concerns. We, the loyal listeners and subscribers, demand that we not be ignored. We have a stake in the survival of this important media outlet, and we demand that we be respected as significant partners in its survival. Producers are our first alert early warning system. We rely on them to be honest and inform us about the health and welfare of the station. However, we see that a disturbing trend has developed since the new board majority seized power. Over the last year and a half, producers who have spoken out and merely raised questions about the existence of the excesses of this administration have been severely disciplined. Many of them have lost their programs without being given due process. Listeners have a right to know what is going on and to participate in whatever remedy is agreed upon. Why are the producers not allowed to speak freely on free speech radio? Therefore, my fellow listeners will introduce the 9 demands. They'll introduce them by numbers so you'll know who they are.
All right, we're going to do, the vote as counted came out to be a tie. And there are people who said that their vote wasn't counted.
That's not true.
We're going, well, that's what.
That's not true. There's 22 people.
If there are 22 people and 22 ballots.
No. Who is saying that the vote wasn't counted?
Just a point of order. There are 22 of us here. The pro-tem was 11-11. How come all of a sudden we got another member from where? Where does this phantom member come from? It's a tie, so you flip a coin. Somebody betrayed you. I don't know what to tell you. That's
That may be right. You may be correct.
It was
I don't understand. It was 11-11. We counted them both times. So,
Look, if we have a pro-tem, then 2 of them, have everybody, every meeting with 2.
Yeah, why they have 2
John is speaking. 1 second, folks.
Hello? Can you hear me? I think that in the interest of progress and unity and showing that we can work together, I'm recommending, since it was tied, that we maintain this tie and that Mr. and I serve together.
I have a point of order here. Somebody, whoever wants to chair at this moment, needs to recognize the point of order. The bylaws require individuals as officers, so we would not. The bylaws require a chair.
So toss a coin.
Rotate.
Yes.
Why did you at least
Rotate.
Nobody wants a coin. Rotate.
Yes, winner takes all. They have to call it, Mr. Chair.
Yes, and your point of order is well taken.
Yeah, you're feeling worse.
The reason why is because we polled people, and they said that their vote was not counted. So we're going, or not counted properly, so we're going to do it again, and then we'll see how it Hold on 1 second. I didn't finish what I was saying to the other point of order. If it's true that that 11 people voted that way, then it will come out that way again.
You will not rebalance. You're bullshit.
A point of order. When I went to the bathroom, I heard Jamie Ross say to manager and that woman there, and no disrespect, did you vote for John? Did you vote for John? That is corrupt. It's time. Toss the coin.
Point of order, Mr. Chair. Starting to name members is not allowed, and that outburst just now is out of order.
Whatever you want.
What's the problem of sharing? You tell me with this coin stuff. You want to toss a coin for Lynn Stewart? Oh, don't get you started. Well, don't get me started. What do you want? I'm saying to you.
We're going to drive the balloting again, and if it gets
No. Security! No. Toss the coin. Toss the coin, Mitch.
He has a trigger temper, especially when it comes to lit. That'll come if you want to say it so fast.
I would like one person from each side, if anybody volunteers, to go around and hand out the ballots and then
Is there agreement among the co-chairs about this? I mean, you don't get to just call this, Mitch. You're not chairing. Right now, you're not the chair.
I think that we had two people from the two opposing sides collect the ballots. The ballots were,
You do not rebalance.
The ballots were collected. I think that according to the bylaws, either we should have a coin flip or we agree upon how we can serve together.
A point of
Why don't you agree to serve? On how you can serve
What personal privilege? Nobody told me you have to go to the bathroom?
Yes, it is.
Somebody collected the ballot.
Are the ballots? I have the ballots.
Share it.
Move on.
Solomon is here. Solomon is here. Solomon is here.
No, let go, power, man. Let it go, Mitch. Let it go.
For the session, once, okay? Speak in the session.
Have the ballots and separate and secure it in an envelope separately. And I would like to examine the ballots. I would like to look at, are they separate? Are they separate? Can I
I can deal with it. You be quiet, I'll be quiet. You'll be quiet, I'll be quiet. You be quiet, I'll be quiet. Don't wave that over my head.
Yes. I have reason to. Excellent, thank you.
I can find anywhere I want.
Speak up,
Be
Jamie.
quiet, and I'll be quiet. I want to hear what's going on in the meeting.
This is what I have. I don't know why.
Silently waving the flag. Stop being fast.
I'd like to move that we read you the election for chair.
No, we're not.
Stop waving the flag.
So that's
Goddamn provocateur.
redo the election.
Stop waving the flag.
All in favor of redoing the election for chair?
Stop waving the goddamn flag.
All in favor of redoing the election for chair?
Point of order. Point of order.
Goddamn, damn it, and you can't, damn it. Racist.
No.
Each coin, think in the session.
All in favor of running the election? I don't understand why people, it should come out the same. I don't know why people are so upset.
No vote. Why do you want to do it?
Point of order.
All in favor?
Point of order. There's no basis on which you can just arbitrarily redo votes.
You can redo votes. If the vote was by hand, you'd say, wait a minute, I want to recount. Please raise your hands again. And you'd see, this is a safe thing, but in terms of paper ballots.
You can't just do it without them showing there's been irregularities.
This is our station, not your law.
This is our station. Let it go. I repeat, and you can have a million cameras. Why did Jerry Ross station manager and Teresa? Did you vote for John?
Because we're checking to see who.
You weren't there.
Look, one meeting, one person leads it. The next meeting, the other person leads it. Don't bylaws me.
And talk about this. I have always complimented Jamie
sorry.
the way he worked
I was in your way, I'm
national
sorry.
committee. And for you to do this, Jamie, shame on you. I heard you ask them.
All right, it's out of order.
You're going to say that
now.
Mutiny.
I can't hear you, Kathy.
What is the problem with forget about the schedule, amend the bylaws, question someone on the content of the committee, share the power.
Can't hear you.
Listen to the chairmanship. Share the chairmanship.
Jamie asked because he was in shock. Come on, Jamie, be honest. Point of order, please.
Here, share the chairmanship. One meeting. All right, we'll say it. We'll say it.
I apologize, my comrades.
Causing all this trouble.
That's
it. Hi, Dan. Hi, how are you?
Going to come to order, and then I'll allow them to continue. I would suggest that we adjourn the meeting.
All in favor of adjourning, please raise your hand. All in favor of adjourning, please raise your hand. That's 4. All opposed. Okay, so the meeting is not adjourned. Now,
11-11, share it.
4 in favor and a lot opposed.
Take the ball and go home.
Let's share it. Let's share it.
Thank you, Nia. That's what I got. What about it, Bernard? You would agree, right?
Not this time. But no, not tonight. No way. This is out of character for me. No.
I'm 100% with you.
Is not yours, Mitch Cohen.
Share it. Pass it on.
Share it.
Yes, Teresa?
Share it.
And I want
Can't
Jamie to
hear
answer
you.
the question.
I have an idea.
Go ahead.
Bylaw says there has to be one person, but there's always ways around things. So could they just have a chair and an alternate? You just vote the chairs and alternate?
Yes, we can do that.
Yes, we alternate meetings. Yes, alternate. That's what I said. Alternate. What's that? So who's Andrew next? Who's Andrew next? Oh, okay. Let's share it.
Call for a vote.
I will not rest.
You're gonna let Court speak.
I can't hear you.
Let the board work this out, how we're gonna work it. Go ahead, Andrea.
I don't understand the objection to redoing the election. If the elections are accurate, again.
Right.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's already some evidence that people have been trying to persuade others to change their vote. So if you're putting pressure on people, how do we know that the vote is not going to be changed?
Shame on you,
There was no question change vote.
Well, there's evidence that there has been.
And you talk about people, the National Board.
All right, now it's time for this meeting, so let's vote now.
No, we're not voting. No.
Just kidding.
No.
Let's share it. Let's share it, Jamie. Come on.
Make a motion. Nia, make a motion.
I move that you alternate meetings.
Right.
Alternate meetings. I don't know what the motion says. What's the motion? Mitch?
Share it. Alternate.
What do you say? Alternate.
You're going to call a recess for 5 minutes.
No recess.
No back room. No back room. No back room.
Let's ask ourselves, what does Mitch do anyway, except call on people? Share the chair, alternate at each meeting. I mean, what's the problem, people?
We're in agreement with you.
I'm not talking to Mitch. I want everybody to hear what I have to say. That's my daughter. She has to wait. Even my daughter has to wait. If somebody wants to talk to my daughter. No. I want to hear what's going on.
Take my roller chair.
I even take that. I can't hear. I want the listeners to hear. They're the ones who pay the money to keep the station going. Listeners can't hear you.
Don't have this discussion in public.
Their money from the station, not the listeners' money.
How about a mic?
What do you say, Mitch?
What's the problem? We solved it. Now let's go on.
Not just you.
No. They share it for months and months. No recap, no revote. No. The only thing I'll go for is a coin toss.
People don't want a coin toss. They want bylaws.
Nobody wants, that's not what the bylaws say. The bylaws say one person, nobody wants a coin toss, they want a sharing.
But that's the bylaws.
Nia, you're wrong, nobody supports that. Everybody's been saying
the chair pro tem made a proposal of an alternate arrangement. An alternate arrangement would mean 1 month it's one person, 1 month it's the next. That proposal was made. I don't hear any real objection to that. I hear a lot of private discussions, but I don't hear any objections.
I want to do public comment. How much time does the person get at public comment? 2 minutes? Well, if there are a lot of people, it'll be less and less
Instead of private, okay.
The only thing the bylaws say is one.
I agree with that. I agree with that. He wants to do it.
Come on, Mitch, share the chair and alternative meetings. Come on, people. What there? We live in the United States of America or some kind of Nazi, German, fascism, dictatorship.
Could we have this discussion in public instead of executive committee meeting in the middle of an open meeting? Why don't we all move up and hear what's being said? Why don't we all move up so we can hear what's being said?
We can't hear what's being said, but you shut up.
Everybody should be quiet except our party. gonna take
I thought this was the new bipartisan. Can't we all get along?
heard a lot of clamoring. How many people listen to WBAI anymore? I listen. I have heard what Gary Nolan said, and he is in favor of being honest about HIV/AIDS. There are Nobel Prize winners who agree with Gary Nolan. He has 2,700 doctors and scientists who agree with his premises. The fact that some people here have lost friends and loved ones, who have lost friends and loved ones and are hurting bad, doesn't make Gary Nolan a dishonest person. He talked about it today on the archives. You can hear him on the archives. Nobel Prize people support him. What can I do? I don't think that the AIDS research is 100% right.
That's what Mengele said also.
That's brotherhood sharing the chair. I don't know what's the problem.
No, I don't believe that.
It would even be better if one person was a woman and one person was a man.
One person was Monroe.
I don't know, but that's what he's saying.
Everybody called the vote the first time.
Hi everybody, this is Russell. Can I just say something? Mitch Cohen is saying to everybody that I took a vote for Mitch Cohen and I substituted a vote for John Brinkley in its place. That's what he's saying happened.
I thought the first one, the pro-tem one was 11-11.
I took one for John Brinkley. He's slandering me because it didn't happen. I thought the vote fairly, and that's insane.
You want to go to Queen?
Huh?
You want to go to Queen?
What is